Hello everyone, this is Ma'am Amano, and this lecture video is all about sketching the graph of an ellipse in a rectangular coordinate system. So for our case 1, we will graph an ellipse in which the center of the ellipse is at the origin. So for our example 1, graph the ellipse with the equation x squared over 25 plus y squared over 16 equals to 1. So for our step 1, we have to determine the type of ellipse and its major axis by considering the value of a squared. Take note that a squared is always greater than b squared. So from this example here, which of the following here is a squared? Alright, again, a squared is always the greater one. So therefore, the 25 here is our a squared and then the 16 here is our b squared. Then take note as well that if a squared is the denominator of x squared, then the ellipse is a horizontal ellipse and has its major axis at x-axis. But if the a squared is the denominator of y squared, then the ellipse is vertical or it has its major axis at y-axis. So on this case, the a squared is the denominator of x squared. So therefore, this type of ellipse is a horizontal ellipse having the a squared at the x squared. Now, for step 2, you have to identify the value of a, b, and c. Since you already identified the a squared, this is how you get the value of a. So, a is equals to the positive negative square root of a squared. And then a is equals to, since the value of our a squared is 25, then put that here. Then get the square root of 25, that is 5, positive and negative. And then for the value of b, that is b squared, square root of that, then positive, negative. B squared's value is 16. And then get the square root of 16, that is 4. Now to get the value of your c or your foci, that is positive, negative, square root of a squared minus the b squared. Then again, positive, negative, square root of 25, the value of your a squared, and then 16, the value of your b squared. Then subtract. Then you will have 9, and then get the square root of 9, and that is 3, positive, negative. Now for step 3, you have to locate the coordinates of the vertices, co-vertices, and foci using the values of a, b, and c. Take note that the a is the distance of the vertices from the center, b is the distance of the co-vertices from the center, c is the distance of the foci from the center. The value of our a is 5, positive, negative, 5. The value of our b is positive, negative, 4. And the value of our c is positive, negative, 3. So let us plot that here on our coordinate system. Let us use a green. Okay? So for a, since a is in the x-axis, okay, the major axis is in a, so we will plot here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here. And then on the other side as well, that is positive, negative, 5. Okay, we plotted the a on the x-axis here because the a squared earlier was the denominator of the x squared. And then for our b, that is at the, let us use another color, positive, negative, 4. So here, you will just count the units. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Okay, positive 4. Okay, and then negative 4 here. Right, next, let us plot the foci. So always remember the rule. The foci always lies on the major axis. And here, our major axis here is the x-axis because this one is the greater value. So you will plot the c value at the x-axis, positive, negative, 3. That is 1, 2, and 3 here. So this one. And then at the side, 1, 2, 3 here. So that is your foci. And then the next thing that you need to do is connect the vertices and co-vertices to form the outer part of the ellipse. So you have to connect that, just like that. Again, this is your major axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then another 5 here. And then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the minor axis, 4. Ayan, you have to plot that. And then this is your foci. 1, 2, 3, negative 3, and then 1, 2, 3, positive 3. The next step that you need to do is you have to draw the latus rectum by constructing line segments passing through the foci. So, mag-drawing lang tayo ng line segment na magpapass through sa foci. To draw that, this is your foci. Remember, this is your foci. So, draw lang tayo ng line segments dyan. Like that. Okay. Like that. Oops. Di pantay. Yeah. Okay, so that is your latera recta or latus rectum. Okay, and then the next step that you need to do is sketch the directrices of the ellipse by determining the lines that have the same distance from the vertex, which is the foci. Meaning to say, we will draw the directrices having the same unit with the foci up to the vertex. So we have here 1. How many units? 1, 2, 2 units. This will here 1, 2, 2 units as well. So our directrices, we must draw the 2 units from the vertex. So this is your vertex, 1, 2. So you will plot the directrix here. And then the directrix here as well. 1, 2. And then, draw the line. The directrix is always parallel to the minor axis. Okay, kapag horizontal yung ellipse ninyo, yung directrix ninyo ay vertical. Ito, vertical siya patayo. Kasi lagi siyang parallel sa minor axis. Okay? Ito yung minor axis. Parallel yan lagi. Pantay sila. Okay? Kapag horizontal ellipse. Pag vertical naman, edi pahiga naman yung directrix ninyo. Makikita ninyo mamaya. Alright, the next step is label all the parts of the ellipse with their coordinates or equation. So, ayan na. Lagyan mo lang siya ng label. Ito directrices. Directrices din yan. Lateral recta, ito yung blue. Itong major axis natin, ayan, negative 5. Tapos yung positive 5 dito. Naglagay ako ng 0 dito sa y point niya kasi nasa x-axis siya, okay? And then yung minor axis natin, in which ang endpoint niya ay co-vertices, ay positive, negative 4 as well. And then 0 yung x-axis niya kasi nakaplat yung point sa y-axis lang, okay? Foci, positive, negative 3 na nakapoint sa major axis. Laging ang foci ay nakapoint or nakaplat sa major axis. Another example for case 1 wherein the center of the ellipse is at the origin, for example 2, graph the ellipse with the equation x squared over 12 plus y squared over 18 equals 1. The first step is we have to identify the type of ellipse and its major axis by considering the value of a squared. So, as always, the a squared is always the greater value, so our a squared here therefore is the 18, this is our a squared, and then the b squared is the 12. Okay, so therefore, since the a squared is in the denominator of y squared, therefore this type of ellipse is vertical ellipse and the major axis lies on the y-axis. For step 2, we have to identify the value of a, b, and c to find the value of a, that is a squared, and then square root of that is square root of 18, and then you have to factor that in such a way that you will be able to extract the square root of the other factor. So here for this case, 9 times 2, and then therefore we can extract square root of this 9, and that is 3. So take that out of the radical sign, and then 3 square root of 2 is 4.243 positive negative. To find the value of the b, that is positive negative square root of the b squared value, and then positive negative, the value of your b squared is 12, and then factor that such in a way that you will be able to get the square root of the other factor. So 4 times 3 is 12, and then get the square root of 4, that is 2, take that out of the radical sign, and then 2 square root of 3 on your calculator, that is 3.464. Then for the value of c, that is positive negative, and then square root of a squared minus b squared, get the difference of 18 and 12, since a squared is your 18 and b squared is 12, and then that is 6. Then since it doesn't have a factor in which you can extract a square root, then just get the square root of 6, that is 2.449. Now, we have to locate the coordinates of the vertices, co-vertices, and foci using the values of a, b, and c. So, the A is our vertices, B is our co-vertices, and then C is the foci. For the value of our A, that is 4.243, wala pang 4.5, so nandito yan. At ang A squared natin, again, ay denominator ng Y squared, so therefore, nasa Y axis yung A squared ninyo, or yung major axis ninyo. Wala pang 4.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, so andito yan, lalampas. Hindi siya abot ng kalahati. Mga ganyan. Tapos sa baba rin, ganun din. Okay, same sila. And then for B, that is 3.464. Dito naman sa x-axis yung ating minor axis. 1, 2, 3. Dito, dito. And then yung foci natin is 2.449. And then laging magkasama yung A squared tsaka yung C. Yung foci ninyo. Yung foci tsaka yung vertices, laging magkasama sa major axis. And then since ang major axis ninyo ay nasa y-axis, doon nyo ipa-plot yung C. That is 2.449. Wala pang 3. 1, 2, dito yan. 1, 2, dito yan. Okay? So, the next step is we have to connect the vertices and co-vertices to form the outer part of the ellipse. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 4.243, wala pang 4.5. Same. Tapos, yung co-vertices ninyo ay 3.464. 1, 2, 3. Wala pang 3.5. And then, yung foci ninyo, again, ay kasama lagi siya ng vertex ninyo. Laging nasa major axis. So, pa-plot mo yan sa 2.449. So, dito yan. 1, 2, tapos nandito siya banda. Wala pang 0.5, so wala pang kalahati. Ganyan. And then, the next step is we have to draw the latus rectum by constructing line segments passing through the foci. So, andito yung foci ninyo. So, ang latus rectum ninyo or lateral recta ninyo ay paganyan. Drawing lang kayo ng line segment. Tuwid dapat yan, straight line dapat. Okay, and then the next step is sketch the directrices of the ellipse by determining the lines that have the same distance from the vertex, which is the foci. So, bilangin niyo yung units na nandito from here. Ang gagawin nyo lang dyan ay, since this is the major axis, that is 4.243, 4.243 minus, ang foci ninyo ay 2.449, 2.449. So, therefore, ang distance ng foci ninyo up to here is 1.794. So, mag-aano kayo dito sa baba ng 1.794. Wala pang 2 units. So, lalampas siya ng 1 unit pero wala pa siyang 2 units. Lalampas siya ng 1.5. So, mga ganyan. Tapos, drawing kayo ng directrix. Ayan. Oops, hindi pantay. Ayan, yung directrix ninyo. Lagi yung directrix ay parallel siya sa minor axis ninyo. Since ang minor axis nyo sa vertical ellipse ay nasa x-axis, kaya pahiga din yung directrix ninyo, ha? And then, step 7 is you have to label all the parts of the ellipse with their coordinates and equations. Lagyan mo lang siya ng pangalan. This is the directrices, and then this is the lateral recta. Ilagay mo yung point ng foci, which is 2.449 positive negative. Tapos yung co-vertices natin, which is 3.464. Tapos yung vertices natin, which is 4.243. And then the center is at the point of origin, 0, 0. And now, let us proceed on case 2, wherein the center of the ellipse is at x-axis and y-axis, or at h and k. So, for example 1, graph the ellipse with the equation x minus 1 squared over 169 plus y minus 2 squared over 25 equals 1. For the first step, you have to locate the center of the ellipse using the values of h and k. So, from this equation, we will equate this binomial into 0 to find the value of the x and y, or the center of your ellipse. So, equating this value into 0, x minus 1 equals 0, transpose the negative 1 to the right side of the equation, that will become a positive, and the x will be 1, or h equals 1. For the y minus 2, equate that into 0, then transpose the negative 2 on the right side of the equation, that will become a positive, and that is y equals 2, k equals 2. Therefore, the center of your ellipse is 1 and 2. Step 2, you have to determine the type of ellipse and its major axis by considering the value of a squared. So from the expression here, the larger denominator is 169, and therefore this is the a squared. And since 169, or the a squared, lies on the x-axis, therefore this type of ellipse is horizontal ellipse because the major axis lies on the x-axis, wherein it contains the vertices, or the a squared here. And then this one is the minor axis for the b squared. For step 3, we have to identify the values of a, b, and c. To find the value of a, that is positive, negative, square root of the value of the a squared. Then positive, negative, the value of your a squared is 169. Get the square root, and that is 13. And then for b, positive, negative, the value of your b squared. And then the value of your b squared is 25. Get the square root of that, and that is 5. For the value of your c, this is the positive, negative, and then square root a squared minus b squared. A squared is 169, the b squared is 25. Get the difference, that is 144. Find the square root, that is 12. For step 4, you have to locate the coordinates of vertices, co-vertices, and foci using the value of a, b, and c. Before you plot that, we have to plot first the center, since the center is at the coordinates of h and k and not at the center. So again, the center is 1 and 2. So, itong cubes natin dito ay by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So, ang kalahati niyan ay 1. So, for x, that is 1 here. And then, for y, that is 2. Nandito. So, itong center ng inyong ellipse. Instead here, instead sub c, sa nandito. Okay? And then, mag-draw kayo ng line para hindi malito for y and x. And then, the first thing that you need to do is plot the value of your a, or the vertices, which is 13. So, from here, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then 13 on the same side here. And then, for the value of your b, that is 5. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then, on the bottom part as well, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 here. And then, let us draw the foci. The foci always lies in the major axis along with the vertices. The value of your foci is 12. Since this is 13, therefore your foci will lie here. Let us use a red color. This is your foci here. Half of this. Yan. And then on the other side as well. So, the next step that we need to do is connect the vertices and co-vertices to form the outer part of the ellipse. So, this is your ellipse here. Okay. Ipagpantay natin sa points. Then, that is the ellipse now. And then, the next step that we need to do is to draw the latus rectum by constructing line segments passing through the foci. So that is the latus rectum that you have here. And the next step that we need to do is to draw the directrices. Let us draw the directrices. And the directrices has the same distance with the foci up to the vertex. So that is 1 unit. So therefore, your directrix will lie here. This one. And the directrices are always parallel to the minor axis. This is your minor axis. So that is parallel to that. This is your directrix. And then don't forget to label your ellipse, the parts. You have to label the directrices, the latera, recta, and then the center of the ellipse, the vertices, and then the co-vertices. So let us have another example for case 2 wherein the center of the ellipse is at h and k or at x and y axis. And then for example 2, graph the ellipse with the equation x plus 5 squared over 20 plus y plus 6 squared over 24 equals 1. For step 1, we have to locate the center of the ellipse using the values of h and k. And to find the value of that, from this expression, the x plus 5 and y plus 6, you have to equate that into 0. X plus 5 equals 0. X equals, transpose the 5 on the other side of the equation, that will become negative 5, and then therefore the h is equals to negative 5. Then equate the y plus 6 into 0, then y equals negative 6 if you will transpose that on the other side, and then k equals negative 6 therefore. Therefore, the center of the ellipse is at negative 5 and negative 6. For step 2, we have to determine the type of ellipse and its major axis by considering the value of a squared. From this expression, we can tell that the 24 here is the a squared since this is the greater denominator compared to the other one. And since the 24 or the a squared lies in the or is the denominator of the y, therefore the type of ellipse is vertical ellipse, and therefore the major axis lies on the y-axis. So for step 3, we have to identify the values of a, b, and c. To find the value, that is a equals plus minus the square root of value of a squared. The value of your a squared is 24, and then find the square root of 24, that is 4.9. For b, that is plus minus square root of b squared. The value of b squared is 20. Get the square root, that is positive negative 4.47. For the value of c, that is positive negative square root of a squared minus b squared. And then a squared is 24, b squared is 20, get the difference, that is 4, and then therefore the value of your c is positive negative 2. For step 4, you have to locate the coordinates of the vertices, co-vertices, and foci using the values of a, b, and c. But first, before you plot those points, you have to plot the center. The center is at negative 5 and negative 6. So negative 5 for x, and that will be here. Since this units here is 2 units each line. Okay? So that will be here negative 5. And then for negative 6, that is here. So make them met each other. Okay, met them. That will met each other. So the point is here. Here. That is the point. And then draw a line para hindi kayo malito. Therefore, this is the center ha. Negative 5 and negative 6. Ayan, ang center nyo ay nandito. Now, we can already plot the vertices, co-vertices, and foci. So, we will plot first the vertices at 4.97 here. Since that is in the y-axis. Okay, so that is 2, 4, ayan, 4.9, wala pang 5. Ayan, and then the co-vertices at 4.47. Then we will draw the foci at the y-axis since the foci and vertices are always on the major axis. So the foci is 2. So here it is. This, since per block is 2 units. So this is your foci. Okay, and the next thing that we need to do is we will draw the ellipse. So, this is now your ellipse. And then, the next thing that we need to do is to draw the latus rectum. And that is here. Okay. And then, we will draw the directrices. The directrices, how many units? That is 2, 3. 3 units. From here, 1, 2, 3. So, this is your directrices here. Same unit siya sa vertex up to foci. And then don't forget to label the parts of each ellipse. And that is all for sketching the graph of an ellipse in a rectangular coordinate system.